Welcome to today's Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're tuning in, because today we are pulling back the curtain on the written word. We're going to uncover the hidden architecture, the secret machinery behind our absolute favorite pieces of writing. Whether you realize it or not, the things you read and listen to every single day are operating on a hidden code, and we're going to crack it together.
So what do classic literature and your favorite pop songs actually have in common? You might think a 400-year-old Shakespearean play and a chart-topping modern Bollywood or pop song live in completely different universes, but they actually share the exact same DNA. The writers behind both of them use the exact same hidden machinery to make their words stick in our heads and resonate in our hearts.
And that machinery has a name: poetic devices. But please, forget all that intimidating academic jargon for a second. Think of a poetic device as a literal toolkit. Just like a mechanic uses wrenches and screwdrivers to build an engine, a writer uses these specific techniques to construct effective, memorable communication. They're just everyday tools used to build something beautiful.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. Number 1, the art of comparison. 2, crafting rhythm and sound. 3, bringing words to life. 4, expanding the meaning. And 5, finding your poetic voice.
Section 1. The art of comparison, similes and metaphors.
So, this brilliantly illustrates the mechanical difference between our first two major tools, the simile and the metaphor. Take the simile. It uses the words like or as to make a connection. You shine like a star. You're you, the star is a star, but you share a sparkling quality. Now consider the metaphor. It's a direct identity swap. You are my star. It completely wipes out the words like or as and just boldly claims that you literally are that blazing ball of gas in the sky. It's a direct, forceful comparison that totally strips away the boundary between the two objects.
Section 2. Crafting rhythm and sound, the music of words.
Now what's really interesting here is the sheer amount of repeating sounds. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. You've probably known this tongue twister since you were a kid, right? This snappy technique is called alliteration. It's when the opening consonant sounds at the start of a series of words repeat. That repeating P sound gives the phrase a lovely, musical, bouncing quality that makes it incredibly memorable.
But hey, we don't just play with consonants, we play with vowels too. Listen to this. Go, slow down, that lonely road. Say it out loud and you can actually feel those deep O's sounds stretching out. This is called assonance, or vowel rhyme. It slows down the pacing and creates this comfortable, luxurious rhythm that you just want to snuggle right into.
And then we have the absolute most fun sound device of all, onomatopoeia. These are words like buzz, pop, smash, meow. These words literally imitate the natural sounds they're describing. When a writer drops a smash into a sentence, they're making the text intensely sensory and realistic. You don't just read the word, you hear the glass breaking.
Section 3. Bringing words to life, emotion and imagery.
Let's look at personification in action. This is when we give non-human things human characteristics. I mean, flowers can't actually dance. A legal concept like justice doesn't have eyes to be blind. And a car definitely doesn't have the willpower to refuse anything. But by giving that stubborn car or those lively flowers human traits, the scene becomes instantly relatable to our human brains.
Next up is hyperbole. Think about this comparison. You could say the literal truth. I am very hungry. It's accurate, sure, but it's a little boring. Contrast that with, I could eat a horse. That is hyperbole. It's an extreme, ridiculous exaggeration meant to add massive emotional weight. Obviously, nobody actually eats an entire horse, but by blowing the truth wildly out of proportion, the writer perfectly captures the intense, dramatic feeling of starvation.
Have you ever noticed how often we just jam opposite ideas together? These are called oxymorons. Look at these examples: bittersweet, seriously funny, original copy. You're taking two completely opposite, contrasting words and forcing them to sit side by side. Surprisingly, instead of canceling each other out, they create a brand new, highly specific meaning that perfectly captures the complex contradictions of daily life.
Section 4. Expanding the meaning, synecdoche and metonymy. Let's move to something a bit trickier and see how this all builds. First up is synecdoche. Let's break this down super clearly. This is when a physical part of something is used to represent the whole thing. So when a captain yells all hands on deck, they don't just want disembodied hands, they want the whole sailor. When someone says nice wheels, they mean the entire car, not just the tires. The physical part represents the whole person or object.
Now, I really want you to consider this direct contrast so you can clearly visualize the difference. With synecdoche, you might say hired hands, a literal, physical part of a human being used to describe the worker. But then we have metonymy, like saying the White House issued a statement. Well, the White House is a building. A building can't speak. But here, it represents the president and the government. It's not a physical piece of the president. It's just a closely related concept. That subtle but brilliant difference is the key between a physical part and a related idea.
We also have symbolism and motif, explaining how writers use universally recognized elements to represent deep experiences. Light often equals hope, white represents peace, and as seen in famous poems like Robert Frost's, fire isn't just physical heat, it's a symbol used to represent intense, destructive human emotions like lust, greed, and anger. The writer taps into our cultural consciousness to say 1,000 words with just one symbol.
Section 5. Finding your poetic voice. So, the crucial point here is that mastering these techniques doesn't require a literary degree. It just takes observation. Read widely, whether that's classic poetry or modern fiction, and spot these devices in the wild. Listen for them in the rhythms of your favorite music. And finally, experiment. Begin weaving them into the rhythms of your own everyday stories and writings.
And that leaves us with this final, very important question for you. Which poetic device are you going to sneak into your next text message or conversation? Are you going to drop a dramatic hyperbole about how tired you are? Maybe a clever oxymoron? You now have the literal machinery of Shakespeare and modern songwriters right at your fingertips. I highly encourage you to go out there, experiment with your new linguistic toolkit, and start making your own words truly unforgettable. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.